she can be able to get us as we are still on the call. So I just need to confirm if you can hear me. Please unmute and tell me if I am being clear.
I can hear you clear.
All right. So we are here as Uganda Reading, that is hosting a book discussion about Victory for My Village that was written by Dr. Jackson. So I will just go through the agenda real quick so we know what we're doing, and then we can be able to start. So we'll have, after welcome remarks, we'll have a brief profile by Dr. Jackson, and then we'll have an introduction of the book, and then we'll have a book discussion session. Hiccup,
So here we are going to
talk
discuss
about
the School for My Village,
and then we'll have and the NYACA programs that the doctor is running, and then we'll have a book review session where we just share interesting chapters and perhaps a success story still from Davis or any other person that has benefited. And then we can have a Q&A session and then closing remarks. Okay, so I'm going to just briefly ask each one of us on the call to just introduce themselves and what they would like to accomplish by being here, or how they know, or how, if they've read the book and why they like it. And yeah, we can just get to know each other as we are on the call and you speak. I'll start with Daniel Womberry. Are you there? Okay, seems Daniel is not able to hear me. Boniface Azeire, are you there?
Yeah, I'm present, madam. Afternoon.
It's just a good afternoon. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
I'm a Ugandan, born in the area where Nyaka is located. That is in Kamboga, and I chair the national board, the Uganda board of Nyaka.
All right. Okay. Good to have you here, Boniface.
Thank you.
Ivan Nahimbisi, are you there? Ivan? Doesn't seem to. Please unmute if you want to so we can hear you well. Okay, I'm trying to. Razia says she's joining in now. Jackson, if you can hear me, please let Razia in because I made you host.
Yes, you did, and I'm letting people in as they ask. As you can see, the number is increasing.
Okay. Yeah, I see you are joining in. You're most welcome. Dennis, you're most welcome.
Yeah,
okay, Razia says she's trying to join in.
Yeah, I haven't seen her buzzing in. But some of the people might be harder to hear or mute or unmute, but they are coming in. We have 11 participants now.
Oh, yes. Pius, if you can hear me, can you unmute and tell us a bit about yourself as we wait for more people to join?
And for your information, Len, it's also live on my YouTube channel, TJK Jackson Kaguri. So those who struggle to get in Zoom can still get it via
Oh,
YouTube.
yes. Okay. Razia says she's in now, but I still can't see her on the call.
Neither can I.
Natukunda Dennis. Hi. To us. Tell us a bit about yourself. Are you familiar with Nyaka programs and Retreat for My Village?
Basically, I'm a former student for Nyaka.
Okay.
I'm working with Nyaka now. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Dennis. Good to have you on the call.
Yeah, thank you.
Shabnam from our offices in Kampala just joined us too. Joining in.
Oh. You're most welcome.
Jackie from our offices in Kampala. Sharon is also here. I still don't see Razia. Danumbere, maybe that's Dan Mumbere. Don't know the name. Ivan, welcome.
Yes, Daniel is part of Uganda reading.
Okay. Very good. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hi. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just read because some of us here cannot understand exactly what Victory for My Village is about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read a book review that was published by PML Daily. So for some of us who haven't yet read the book and have a quick grasp about what it's about, and then we can go straight into listening to the author himself and people who have actually benefited from all the Nyaka programs. So I'll just start. In the 1980s, Uganda became the epicenter of a viral disease, HIV and AIDS. An epidemic severely impacted various regions of the country. TJ Jackson's Victory for My Village is a tale of a man who commits himself to restoring hope of HIV/AIDS orphans and later on a village devastated by an HIV and AIDS and poverty. It's an inspirational and educational book depicting a picture of what society can achieve through the collective efforts of a global community that comes together against a particular cause. This fascinating story is a sequel to Jackson's other book, A School for My Village. The book presents a memorable or inspirational account of a man who overcomes all odds and refuses to accept any rejectable for needy children. To TCJ, our school alone, the community needed more. Our water supply system hospital, library, grandmothers who had a helping hand. So they inspired him to embark on the journey. Tracy's G was not close to Italy, but is Nyaka, as it is commonly referred to in the book. Victory for My Village gives immense information on community development and international development. The account goes as far as it provides insights on a holistic approach to community development. It is a testimony of how an African-led grassroots non-profit organization thrives to a level of attracting top-notch donor organizations like Segal Family Foundation. The story is written in simple language, mixed with a few in a simple English language, mixed with a few Richiga words, which make the tales entertaining and readable for anyone. The success stories from beneficiaries make the stories super believable. All right, that was a review. I hope we now have a grasp of at least what the book is about. And now I see that Razia is on, and Razia is the moderator for this book session. We had a few technicalities, that's why she was able to join a few minutes later. But I think, Jackson, you can now hand over the host rights to Raz, and she can take over from here.
All right. If I can figure out how to hand over the host.
Okay. Can you go to? Do you see
participants? Yes. I see participants.
You see Razia Athman, just tap on her name and then say make host.
Easy, okay. Stop video. Make
I don't know. And the rest of the people hear me. I seem to see the chat having Daniel saying he's having trouble hearing any of us.
Yeah, somehow you kept coming in and out, but
can you?
Razia, you have. Razia, now you have the hosting powers. Lynn, you asked everybody to introduce themselves. You didn't introduce yourself. Who are you?
I did introduce myself, but let me do it again. Okay. So my name is Lynn Tukey, and I am the Uganda Reading Ambassador, and I am also on the JNK Publishing Committee, which is the same publishing company that came up with Victory for My Village. And I am glad to be a part of this awesome team. I can't wait to visit Nyaka to go and see all these that I read just face to face, so I know exactly what it's about. And yeah, I am very happy to be here, and thank you everyone else for joining.
Wonderful. Thank you for everybody for coming once again. Today we are talking about Victory for My Village. As you can see, I decorated and put part of the cover there, but this is the book we are talking about. And Victory for My Village follows a book Lene talked about, which is A School for My Village. Today we'll concentrate on Victory for My Village, but if you have not read A School for My Village, you can find it in the same sources in Uganda. If you are looking from anywhere outside Uganda, look on Amazon. I'm so privileged today to have an opportunity to discuss, and for Razia, the founder of Uganda Reading, who is going to be moderating this session. So for quick introduction, my name is TJK Jackson Kaguri. When I look in participants here, really I don't need to introduce myself that deep. We all know each other. I'm excited that we have students who have graduated from Nyaka, meaning that victory for my village, in my eyes, these are the working impact. Many people ask what you have done or how it has affected communities. Today we get to hear yourself some of these voices live here on Zoom. For those of us who are watching from YouTube, we welcome you and we thank you. Nyaka as an organization started 19 years ago when HIV/AIDS was at its height. As a young man who was finishing graduate education at Columbia University, I went back and started this school to help children who cannot go to school, and you will meet some of those here. But in summary, the work we decided to do in this community, the vision was mine, the initiative was mine, but as you will see in this Victory for My Village, Nyaka is now Nyaka Global. Nyaka Global in a sense that we are not only in Nyakajezi village where we implement programs, we are in 3 different districts, but in the world out there, we have supporters nearly on every continent in the world. What do? We do community development. We work with children. We started working with children, mainly who were orphaned because of HIV/AIDS, but those who are vulnerable in general. And we took a stance to do a holistic approach in addressing issues facing children. Holistic meaning we looked at every obstacle that would affect a child and demolished it one at a time. Starting with the school in education system, I built a small school using my $5,000 I had saved to buy a house here in the United States, took it and built 2 classrooms, and that's the exact replica of this picture on a school for my village. And in 19 years, you will see a transformation, and that's where Victory for My Village comes in, that we went from these 2 classrooms to a campus, a $3 million campus that is located in Nyakajezi, Kambuga, Kanungu district. We started with education, primary school. We added on food and created a farm, 17 acres. We added on healthcare, built a clinic. We added on libraries for kids to be able to read books, and I do write children books. We added on a program for grandmothers so children can live in a home rather than live in an orphanage. This grandmothers program started with 30 women. Now it has 15,000 women spread into 3 districts in Uganda. So that takes care of housing. And our food program, we also realized we can't only grow food. We worked with Rotary International as a Rotarian, and I know there are fellow Rotarians on this call, and I wear the pin proudly. We communicated with Rotary International and built clean water systems so everyone can have a chance to have water. So 5 basic human rights: food, education, healthcare, housing, and employment. And later in the program, you get to know and hear some of these programs, how they are working. Community libraries now are powered with solar power and have books. I see our librarian Mark at Nyaka Rupin Library in Kambuga joining us. So we have taken a village that was headed into these systematic cycles of poverty and privation and transformed it into a buzzing community development, economic empowerment, social justice, and women empowerment at its best. But in the book you are reading, I can tell you so much more. In the book you are reading, you will meet several people in this book, and I marked a few of them that I would like to highlight. When you look in chapter 1, you will meet a young man called Hilary who walked 50 miles from a different village called Nyatshenyi looking for education. and I ended up building another school in that area called Kutamba. Kutamba followed the same approach as Nyaka. It has a library, it has health services, it has grandmother's program, and it is a replica of Nyaka village in another place in Rukunjiri district. Hilary, though he dropped out of school later, he still knows how to read and has a job, and he's in touch with me. Hilary was actually a future in CNN. When I became a CNN hero, Hilary was one of the young people who was filmed by CNN International in his village in Nyaka. When you jump and go to chapter 4, you will see that while we are doing this work is not as easy as many of us think of community development work. Here we had donors who visited from the United States, I cover in chapter 4. And when they arrived at Nyaka school, they found that Nyaka was taking care of all religious aspects of our community. Nyaka takes in Catholics, Anglicans, Seventh day, whatever, whether you have religion or not. It is one organization that combines everybody, regardless of your political affiliation. And I know people are electing their leaders today. Regardless of who you are, economic, social, racial, none of that. But when this church visited Nyaka Primary School, they found that we had Muslim students, and they came back and told me they cannot support Nyaka anymore because for them, as a Christian church, they didn't want to support Muslim children. And I had to take a stance. Here I am, young, looking for money. We need the money, but I told them we take care of children regardless who they are. And you will meet that story in chapter 4, where you have to learn to say no, regardless of circumstances. Always do the right thing, regardless how painful it might be or the economic consequences it might have on you. When you jump on chapter 8, you look at the obstacles our children face. When Dennis, who is here, and other children were at Ishaka Adventist School, they were used 2 meals we were feeding them at Nyaka. Now they're in a boarding school. They are not getting regular food. One of our students resorted to stealing food, and they caught him. They resorted to strikes. One of them ended up in jail. One of the several girls ended up being pregnant. In senior 5 at Bishop Komboni, you will meet some of our students struggling. But Nyaka has a policy which is against the Uganda government education policy, that when a student, girls get pregnant, we will still keep them in school and support them to continue. And because our girls know they have our support and we are not going to give up on them just because they got pregnant, we have several students who have rebounded from either an abortion or pregnancy and came back to succeed and go on to continue with their studies. And victory for my village is indeed victory, because some of these students are already married now, they have their own children, they are employed, several in Nyaka, but others in other aspects of work, and several are finishing school. And we look at these children as equals, love them all in all aspects, regardless of their academic achievement. We have Hannington, who is a driver in Nyaka offices in Uganda. We have Tusimire, who is a hair salon expert. We have construction workers, but we do have a doctor too, and we do have lawyers and nurses. We look at a child as a child, just like I treat my own 4 children. That's how I treat these young men and women, and they can testify in regards to that. I'm going to pick up one more right here, and that is in chapter 15. Chapter 15 introduces you to Justine, who is not an orphan, but who was vulnerable. This young girl was burnt by the Tadova, the thing you use to read books in the village. I don't even know what it's called in English. The Tadova is this little thing you put in a piece of cloth and light on top. That's how we used to read our books. Justine was walking from a kitchen at her home when she was, I think, 5 years old, and tripped, and all the liquid fell on her body, and the dress caught fire. 80% of her body was burnt, including her neck and mouth. She could not move her lip or tongue when we met her. When you are that disabled in our community, as you all know, people shun you, kids don't want to play with you, they make fun of you, flies fly in her mouth. So one time we are playing soccer at Zoroma Primary School, and a volunteer I was traveling with saw Justine. Everyone who didn't want to play with her, he was a white young man, and he started taking pictures of Justine. But our community, you know how we behave. We see a white person, Muzungu, we all run there. So the other kids saw he was taking pictures and started getting closer. Cut the story short, you'll find it all in chapter 15. Justine was admitted at Nyaka under vulnerability category. But we all realized that as she was growing, she was not going to grow her breasts because the whole chest was burnt and the neck was not turning. So I went to a hospital in Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States, and asked for help. And we got Justine fly from Nyakajezi, come to Boston under Shlina Hospital, got treatment, got surgery, went back to Uganda. Justine now has her full breast grown, her neck turns, her mouth crosses back and forth, and she's studying to become a teacher. So you get to see students now who have broken the cycle. Not only dream of flying, because when you are growing in Nyakajezi, you don't even think you'll ever be on a plane, but breaking the cycle and also addressing healthy issues. I want to finish, and we had another student called Alan who was born with cerebral palsy that we were able to get from Nyakajezi to here in Michigan, United States. And he got surgery on all his legs and stood up for the first time when he was 13 years of age. Alan is back also in Nyakajezi village, grown man, he can use his walker, and he was able to solve the education aspect, but also the health aspect. I want to finish this by looking in chapter 27, where Nyaka becomes global. In this book, you will meet so many volunteers and so many places I have visited, but you meet a young girl who I met preaching the gospel in a church in Indiana. At 5 years old, she came and listened to me preaching and talking about children like her who were growing up in Nyakajezi. And she said, I will pray for you and I will start raising money for you at 5 years of age. Many of us think we can't make a difference because we are young or we don't have a job or we make every excuse we can find. But making a difference in people's lives has no age limit or cash limit or status limit in society. And you will see that here over and over, that we can all make a difference. This girl at 5 years old, now she's 19 years of age. And every year since she was 5, Cameroon Northern has raised money for Nyaka. She runs and goes to her grandmother and says, give me $10 because I want to support another child. At 16 years of age, she came to Nyaka. In the United States, at 16, everyone throws a big party called Sweet 16. Kids want cars, they want to go to Hollywood, they want to meet their mentors, but Cameroon Northern decided, I want to spend my Sweet 16 with the children I've been supporting, with my brothers and sisters in Nyaka. She came, we slaughtered the goat, we got her children sing for her. She ate chapati and mandazis in my compound in Nyakajezi, and the children she had been supporting all these years were able to shake hands, to sing with her, and she's now studying to become a pastor. She's studying divinity so she can continue to serve the Lord all the days of her life because of what Nyaka did. So when you look on this screen, you will see people's life, people whose lives have been changed by Nyaka. But you only think that because Nyaka is in Uganda, it only changes lives of people in Uganda. The transformation Nyaka has had is global. The people who support Nyaka, and this is where people think that fundraising is begging. Fundraising is giving somebody an opportunity to make a difference in other people's lives. or in an environment. They support causes they like that are dear and near to their lives. And what Nyaka has done is to give many people around the world this opportunity to serve and fulfill something within themselves that is important to them, but also is transformational for our communities. So to you all students who are here, if grandmothers knew how to get on Zoom, we would not even be able to have enough participants because I know all 15,000 of them would be here. Razia, as I end my comments and get into discussion, I want you to know that few days ago, I turned 50 years of age. And when I turned 50, we threw a fundraiser out in the world and said we would like every grandmother, 15,000 of them, to get $1 so they can eat a lunch on their executive director. They call me Grandpa, on their Shrenkuru's birthday. Tell you the truth, within 4 days, we had raised all $15,000. So every grandmother that is served by Nyaka will go out without children, get a lunch and a soda, and celebrate a birthday. We can make a difference in this world. If you ever doubt it, look at this testimony and look at what Nyaka has done. There is so much to be done. And my books are not encouraging people to give to Nyaka. My books are encouraging people to make a difference regardless where they are. My passion is children and grandmothers and community development. Your passion might be saving dogs. Your passion might be climate change. Your passion might be saving forests and planting trees. Whatever it is, the books encourage you to follow your passion, follow your heart, work hard, stay determined, and grow a community that will support the cause you love. And when we do, we make a difference in the world. Thank you. Over to you, Razia.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning from Point Noir in Congo. I'm joining you from my house.
Ooh. Zoom has ended on the other side. So we will end our live stream here once again. Here is the book we are discussing, Victory for My Village. The background book before Victory for My Village is A School for My Village right here. Thank you for joining us. Send questions, leave a comment. We appreciate you, and even after reading, you can reach me through this channel or through our website, nyakaglobal.org.